President Trump has renovated the Lincoln bathroom at the White House. Trump announced on Truth Social that the bathroom was previously renovated in the 1940s with an Art Deco green tile style, which he called totally inappropriate for the Lincoln era. An image of the refit shows it replaced with a black and white polished statuary marble instead. Joining us now to discuss the renovations at the White House, in particular, the White House Ballroom project, is Emel Akan, senior White House correspondent for the Epoch Times. Emel, thank you for joining us today. So you wrote in a recent article that President Trump, during the Obama administration, had offered to build a ballroom at the White House at his own expense. Can you tell us more about that?
Thank you, Don, for having me. It's great to see you. Yes, it's quite an amazing story, right? Before becoming president, I think it was during 2016 presidential campaign, he mentioned that he offered to build a ballroom at the White House, and he asked the Obama administration, but they declined the offer. And now he's the new resident of the White House, and he can do that ballroom. And he's actually now doing that with his own, style, with his own most favorite classical style. So that's quite an interesting example. And he said a few times during the campaign that he offered the project a few times, and he even offered to pay for it, but he couldn't get green light for the ballroom project. And now it's coming. Now he's basically achieving that dream with this new ballroom project.
The ballroom at the White House in the first place?
Well, they need this ballroom because of the space, limitations that they have at the ballroom, because there is a need for this kind of gatherings, large gatherings at the White House to accommodate large number of guests. At the moment, the White House has the East Room, for example. It only accommodates 200 people, and the State Dining Room has only 140 guests at maximum. So this ballroom, the new one, will be able to accommodate large diplomatic gatherings, and it will be a 90,000 square feet project, and it will include roughly 1,000 guests. So it's going to be a huge ballroom.
So we know the president's experience in real estate, right? Around 50 years. I'm just wondering if that's going to benefit this project, his experience in real estate and development.
That's absolutely going to be a crucial experience for this project, because the president himself said that for 150 years, the presidents of the United States wanted to build a ballroom, but they didn't have the experience that he had. So I think that his experience will help a lot. He's hiring, the engineers. He's hiring architecture firms to do this ballroom project, but his experience will be very crucial. We don't know the details how he's involved in these projects, but I'm pretty sure that he's giving a lot of advice about the ballroom design and the construction of the ballroom as well.
So Imana, I also wanted to ask you about the Lincoln bathroom. We showed images of this earlier, that Trump has opted for a traditional marble instead of the Art Deco style that existed before. Can you tell us more about the traditional classical design that Trump favors and is choosing for the ballroom as well?
Yeah, I think this is a very crucial topic, Don. We have been covering the truth tradition at the Epoch Times. We have been putting a lot of emphasis on this, and just want to remind people during the first term, Trump issued an executive order before leaving office, making traditional design, making classical design a preferred style for architecture in Washington. And when President Joe Biden came, he eliminated that rule. And then after President Trump took office in January again, he reinstated that executive order. So what he wants is when there is a renovation, when there is a construction of a federal building, the preferred style will be classical design. And this is a very interesting proposal. And a lot of people have been advocating for return to classical style. And there are a lot of people, there are a lot of voices who have been advocating for that. So it's a big win for them. And ballroom will be also part of this effort so that the ballroom itself will embrace the classical traditional style.
So, Emel, what about the critics who say the White House being altered is erasing part of its history?
There have been a lot of renovations at the White House, so this is not going to be the first time. There were a lot of changes to the White House, the building of East Wing, West Wing, the balcony. There's a lot of changes to all interior as well. Even going back to Truman period, you had 4 years where the president had to leave outside because of the ongoing interior reconstruction of the White House. So this is not a new project. I understand there are a lot of concerns about the size of this ballroom. It's such a big, huge project which could overwhelm the White House itself. But also I would like to remind people that, and I speak to a lot of people about this, and they are trying to say, what they're trying to say is that the ballroom is desperately needed. The size of guests are growing, and when you have state visits, when the president hosts state dinners, the president has actually limitations on how many people he can invite to the White House. So many of these events are hosted on South Lawn, which is very, very difficult because they have to build tent, and it's not really looking pleasant, as President Trump put it. So this is a long overdue project. And also, I would like to remind people that as a resident of Washington, D.C., when a president has to go outside of the White House to attend an event, a large size ballroom events, the whole traffic gets crazy. The Secret Service has to do a lot of work. So I think this will also ease a lot of pressure that the White House have. So I think it's important for the White House to have this ballroom. So we will see. I think there are a lot of concerns about it, about how it's funded as well. But I do think that if the White House becomes more transparent, continues to become more transparent about the ballroom project, I think it will help a lot of people to understand it and support the project.
So you talked about funding, right? So I want to point out that the funding for the ballroom construction will all come from donors and Trump himself. So can you talk to us about how significant is that these renovations do not cost taxpayers anything?
It's a huge news for people because taxpayers know that it's not going to be funded with the government funds, with the government money. It's a private donation. And I think the best thing that the White House did is that they have provided the full list of people, the companies and people, individuals, wealthy individuals who contributed to this project. They have raised roughly more than $300 million for this project. And President is estimating that the cost will be around 300 or 350 million. And so that is important to see, it's important to understand. And many people are concerned that, for example, Senator Blumenthal from Connecticut, Democrat, he raised concerns about the conflict of interest here when people are donating this much money or contributing to this project. Will they have access to the White House? So there were a lot of questions, and he sent out letters to those donors asking what they are getting in exchange for the donation. I think it's also important to understand, some people are criticizing this, but it's important to understand that this is how Washington works. There are a lot of lobby groups advocating for policy changes, and there are a lot of companies doing lobbying here. So it's part of the tradition, and there are a lot of people donating as well for political advocacy. So this is part of the tradition, and it's not illegal. So I think the president has the right to do this, and I think he won't be challenged because of that.
Well, Emel, I'd say that about covers it for this topic. Again, thank you very much for coming on and talking to us about this.
Thank you, Don.